Hey everyone! It's Paige here, ready to share a weekend in my life. I study physical natural sciences at the University of Cambridge, and this is what I get up to on a typical Saturday and Sunday during term time. Saturday mornings are always my favourite because I can have a lie-in and the sun has risen before I get up. That's always a bonus. Please don't judge the state of my bathroom. It's an organised mess, I promise. Walking around in my dressing gown is a key part of my Saturday morning. Fluffy slippers are also an absolute essential. I then decided to quickly make my bed because if I didn't make it at this point, it was just going to be left in a mess all day. Finally, I fixed up my eyesight and headed downstairs. Don't forget the room key. I didn't fancy getting locked out and having to go to the porter's lodge in my dressing gown. I headed to the laundry room to retrieve my clothing that I'd put in the wash the night before. I did this first because I shared the laundry room with the other members of my staircase and they'd get annoyed if my clothing was stopping them from using the washing machine. It was a quick task, and since I was going downstairs for my breakfast anyway, it made sense to do it at the same time. I don't want to trek up and down those stairs more times than necessary. Then I popped into the kitchen. I'm always so hungry in the mornings, so cereal is the first port of call. If I don't have something to eat as soon as I get up, I feel ill, and we don't want that. Most important meal of the day, kids. As some of you may know, I have some weird habits, one of them being that I don't like raisins in my muesli, so I have to pick them out beforehand and then add a very specific amount of milk. But honestly, it's all worth it for the perfect bowl of muesli. Then I obviously washed up my bowl straight after finishing my breakfast. It's not good to let your washing build up, and I like to keep our kitchen tidy. It's not your typical student kitchen. Clean surfaces is what I like to see. Then I headed back up to my room, and apparently I was on a roll that morning because I got straight back to my chores and hung up the washing I'd just got out of the washing machine. I also folded and put away the dry clothes hanging on my clothes area from the week before. I never really have much time for laundry and chores during the week, so it usually all gets done at this point. As always, I'd managed to find myself 4 unpaired socks. Why does it always happen to me? Like, where are my socks going? Anyways, I got over it pretty quickly and went to choose my outfit for the day. Off I go to get showered and dressed. I give you Paige's study attire. A fashion icon, I know. First things first, I switched on my computer because I was guaranteed to need it throughout the day whilst I was studying. Or at least, I tried to turn on my computer. Turns out, I'd decided to install some updates the night before. The 40-minute wait for installation was not ideal. In the meantime, I made my to-do list for the weekend. This included reviewing lecture notes, problem sheets for supervisions, and research internship applications. Since my desktop computer had still not come to life, it was time for plan B, and I whipped out my laptop, which I usually use when I'm studying outside of my room. I just want to say now that I know it may seem excessive that I've got a laptop and a desktop, but they're extremely useful for editing purposes, and the frequent use I get out of them for my uni work makes them a worthwhile investment. Once I'd answered a few emails and also plugged my laptop into charge, I got out the classical dynamics question sheet that I'd completed the week before and reviewed any questions that I had not got right first time round. Time permitting, I like to do this with every question set I complete to make sure I have a full understanding of the module before moving on to the next topic. After about 2 hours of work, I got changed and ready to head off to the boathouse for a rowing outing. I cops for the Jesus College Boat Club, and it's a really fun way to take a break from my studies over the weekend. This was actually my favourite outing of the whole term so far. The sun was shining, not a cloud to be seen. Rowing outings when the weather's nice are the best thing ever. Even the cycle on the way to the boathouse was enjoyable in the gorgeous weather. If you hadn't already guessed, the sun puts me in such a good mood. Here I am parking my bike up at the boathouse. The river cam was looking lovely. Our boat is the one on the bottom rack, and this is me heading into the boathouse. I went straight up to the changing room just to dump my bag. I made sure I had my visor with me so the sun didn't blind me, and also my gloves, because yes, my hands get very cold even when it's sunny. Here's a view of the Jesus College boathouse, and here's me in the cox's seat with my life jacket and headset on. My rowing outing took a few hours, so when I got back I had to run to get to college brunch on time. They stopped serving brunch at 1:30 and there was no way I was missing it. It's the highlight of my Saturday. I'd never cycled back to college so fast before in my life. I joined my friends in the college hall. As you can see, I was having a great time. After CAF, I always go to check my pigeonhole, always to see it's empty, but nevertheless, I do like to check my empty pidge. See? Thumbs up for no mail. I decided I needed a change of scenery in the afternoon, so packed up my work into my rucksack and headed to the library. The college has its own library, which is only a 5-minute walk from my accommodation, so it's very convenient and it's a really nice place to work. I'm always most focused when I'm working in the library just because I can see other people around me working, and that motivates me to work myself. Surprisingly, I managed to get one of the highly sought after booths to sit in. They're so spacious, so I literally just spread my work out all over the desk. I was going over the most recent quantum mechanics lecture notes, so that involved going through and highlighting them, annotating them, making flashcards on them, and answering the questions relating to them in my question sheet. I made slower progress than anticipated. It was really frustrating, but sometimes it just happens. You see a question, you get stuck, and then you have to think about it for a very long time. After 2 hours of attempting and failing these questions, I decided to leave the library and give myself a break. Sometimes it's better to just come back and reattempt the questions with a fresh mind. At this point, I had to go and collect some Stash that I'd ordered. Stash is college-branded clothing, and the collection point was one of the other student houses. I was very excited to pick up my new sweatshirt. There's nothing I love more than some new clothes. I headed back into college through First Court and then went back to my staircase. I found my friends all chilling on Ed's balcony. I briefly joined the party before going back to my room and giving my parents a call. I video call them on my computer regularly and give them all the updates. I can tell they miss their favourite daughter when she's away at uni. At 5:40 it was time for CAF dinner, so I headed over to the college hall with my friends. We pay a kitchen fixed charge each term to get subsidised meal prices at CAF. There's different options each day and it saves me the trouble of cooking myself as well. Although, to be fair, cooking is actually a life skill I do still need to master at some point. You queue up, then get your tray, your cutlery and your glass of water, and then you ask the catering staff for your choice of meal at the hot counter. Saturday night is always burger night. Not the healthiest of all meals, but it's nice to treat yourself at the weekend. When I got back to my room, it was dark outside, so I went to close my curtains. As you can see, I had also got changed into some comfy clothes since I wasn't planning on leaving my room for the rest of the evening. My computer had finally managed to turn on and install all the updates, so I got that going and then got up iTunes and put on some music to study along to. Up until a few months ago, I was very against studying along to music. I felt like it distracted me and I just wasn't as productive. But now I've found that listening to music while I study makes me associate good things with studying. Maybe it doesn't keep me as focused as I could be, but it makes me look forward to a study session because I know I can listen to my favourite playlist. Anyway, I was making a second attempt at the physics questions that I'd been struggling with in the library earlier, and I was actually quite successful. It suddenly clicked as to what the questions were asking about, and I had a very productive evening of work. The questions they set us are designed to be challenging, and often all they require is a little bit of perseverance. I like to spend a considerable amount of time getting work done on Saturday evenings, just to make up for the time I took out earlier in the day for things like rowing outings and brunch. I went down to the kitchen to fill up my water before I went to bed, but then I got a little bit sidetracked and found my friends playing cards in the gym. I mean, of course I had to join. Not gonna lie, I get quite competitive, but card games are so much fun and we've been playing them a lot this term. Eventually, I made myself go to bed though because I didn't want to be tired for the next day. And welcome to Sunday morning where the 8 o'clock alarm makes a return. It was another beautiful day. Can you believe this was February? Trying not to waste time, I went to grab my dressing gown and went for breakfast. But what cereal would I go for this morning? Decisions. Shreddies! I like to vary up my breakfast food to keep life interesting. I popped my bowl back in my cupboard when I was finished. If you've ever wondered what my Jip cupboard looks like, this is it. As much as I would have liked to have stayed sitting in my dressing gown in the kitchen, I headed back up to my room to kickstart a productive day. Another day, another outfit choice. Just to clarify though, I never dress up too much at the weekend. It's for lectures and labs during the week that I really make the effort. I wash my hair every other day, so this morning I had to dry my hair and then I straightened it as well. If I leave my hair to dry naturally, we get a frizzy mess, and we don't want that. Once I was looking presentable, I quickly made my bed. I like to keep my room looking pretty, with lots of decorations on the shelf and a nice pink throw. For the first part of the morning, I tried to finish off my quantum mechanics questions I've been working on the previous day. It was just a matter of perfectly consolidating everything in the lecture notes and making sure I hadn't made any stupid mistakes. Around mid-morning, I headed off to my absolute favourite place to study. In Westcourt you find The Roost, which is the Jesus College cafe and bar. We are so lucky to have such a great place to socialise as well as study, and the prices are really reasonable. I treated myself to a coffee and cake. I mean, how could I resist? The cafe was very quiet when I first got there, but it soon got busier as the morning went on. The noise didn't bother me though. I actually quite enjoy the background chatter and the general coffee shop atmosphere. I got stuck into some questions for my maths module. I was solving Laplace and Poisson's equations in various different domains with different boundary conditions. After a few hours had passed, I relocated to my room and continued with the same work. Here you see the desk of a second-year physics student. Everything's handwritten, so yes, there are a lot of papers. I took a break for lunch and went down to the kitchen to make a toastie. My friends told me my toastie making skills weren't up to scratch and very kindly gave me a helping hand constructing my toastie. Toasties are my go-to lunchtime food since they're quick and easy to make. While I ate, I chatted to my friends. Also, I'd like to just say, because I know people are going to comment on this, eating a toastie with a knife and fork is perfectly normal. To finish, I enjoyed some melon. And then I had to go and quickly get changed into my coxswain clothing since I had another rowing outing. I usually have 4 rowing outings a week. Yes, it does take up a lot of my time, but I enjoy it, and I stay on top of my work as long as I manage the remaining hours of the day effectively. This was halfway through the outing when we were waiting to spin. As you can see, from where I'm sitting, I can see all the rowers' blades, and then I can call them out if they're not putting their blade in the water at the right time. I cycled back to the college from the boathouse after the outing was over, and look at that, she's vlogging and cycling at the same time. What? I was pretty proud of myself for this, not gonna lie. In the hour before dinner, I decided to do some work on my internship applications. I read over and made notes of the requirements of the roles I was applying for and looked at the deadlines and application process for each one. As always, I went to CAF for dinner, which is as much about socialising as it is about getting food. I was quite excited when we returned to the staircase because I'd found some books which had been put in my pigeonhole. Then I did some work on my CV and started pulling together all the things I needed to make my applications for the internships. Basically, I'm trying to get an internship for the summer. It should hopefully help me decide what I want to do in the future, what my career choices are going to be. However, at 7 it was time to leave my room and go out to socialise. I was meeting up with the other coxes of the Jesus College Boat Club, and even more exciting, I was bringing my waffle machine with me. I am the travelling waffle woman. This waffle machine was a present when I left for uni last year, and trust me, waffles buy you friends. Here are the consumers of the waffles, all looking so very casual. And of course, here's me. These are some samples of my creations. Not my best work, but they'll do. After a few hours of chats and waffles, the social ended and I headed back to my room. I was sad because it was a very quiet staircase and no one was around, and I wanted people to chat to so I could procrastinate. Instead, all there was to do was get back to my maths. Probably just as well, because it took me a while. The questions really required some thought. You can see me yawning a lot at this point. It had been a long day of work. An early-ish night was very much needed. Finally, work for the day was finished and I ticked off everything I'd completed that weekend on my to-do list. I actually did a very good job, with only one task left uncompleted. I put a star by it to remind myself to carry it over to the next day. Then I shut down my computer for the day. Good night, iMac. I brushed my teeth and got ready for bed, still in quite a good mood. And now it's that sad time when the weekend is over. Please like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!